Thank you. Hello, everyone. Before I start, I have two disclaimers. Who has never seen an Egyptian before or met Egyptian people? Show your hands. Okay, I am probably the shortest Egyptian you'll ever meet, okay? So Egyptians aren't really that short, because people, when they first meet me, they doubt if Egyptians really built the pyramids or not. They did. Second disclaimer, my name is Dina Amin, and not Dina Amin, okay? I really hate capital Ds. Really hate capital Ds. It's just something about its proportion that, I don't know, I hate it. And I had so many people tell me, you're nuts, because the D is such a fancy letter. Probably typographers and calligraphers will tell me this. And I tell them no, because the D is a really mean letter. Because when I see it written next to the little letters, this is what I actually see. I see a mean big letter just shooing away all the little ones. And then some other people would tell me, no, but the D is a happy letter, because this is how we write the emoji, the happy face. It's a happy letter. Well, can you see it coming? Not gonna happen. I really hate capital Ds. So please, also, if you're a typographer or something, please add lowercase fonts to your typography, to the fonts, to the types. And this is something that I found myself occasionally doing. I would look at things and imagine them coming to life. But for the last 2 years, this is all what I've been doing. So I accidentally started this project on Instagram where I take products apart and then I show people what's inside them. So in this project, I combined my love for product design and my fond love for stop motion and my views on consumerism. And it's really easier to show you than explain it, so I will do now. And my goal today is to show you things that you've never seen before. If you follow me, then you probably did. But if not, let's see. So this is a mobile pouch. It was a really necessary item, accessory some years ago. Now they still exist, but they are thrown away somewhere, completely obsolete. This, I'm sure you've seen someday, but. Thank you. So have you seen a mobile pouch transform into a superhero before? I hope not. So when I first started, I'm not an animator. I really didn't study animation. I didn't even have a camera or anything. I would tape my phone to the table and I would sit there. I only knew the basic idea of stop motion is that you take many photos and in each photo you change the position or transform your object. And this is all you do. You take a photo, change your object, take a photo and change your object. And I would sit there and do this for hours and hours. And all I really wanted to do is get all my ideas in my head into the real world. So, So how did I really start? Of course, I didn't wake up one day and decide, I'm gonna just take products apart and transform them into other things. It didn't happen that way, of course. I studied product design in Malaysia, and I loved product design. I loved how we can create objects that people can interact with, they can solve a problem. But I also hated a big part of product design where most of the things we create actually end up being thrown away. This is a picture from a scrap market in Egypt. It's in Mbaba in Cairo. And there you'd see so many things that people throw away, literally throw away. Most of, if not all, the products there are actually collected from garbage bins. And when you live in a country like Egypt, you see the true image of product design, because most of the products that we receive in Egypt are low-quality products that actually do barely work for a week, and then they end up being thrown away. But regardlessly, I graduated from product design, and I worked a bit in product design, along with so many different jobs, until I reached a point where I really couldn't recognize what I liked or disliked anymore, and I would make really weird decisions that didn't make any sense to me, and I would just accept whatever is considered an opportunity in Egypt, and I would really settle. And then one day I was thinking, this is really weird, like 5 years ago I would have never accepted this, what happened? And then I was thinking, okay, it's okay, I'm just gonna continue exploring, I'll try so many different jobs until one day I'll find the thing that I love to do the most. Years passed and I didn't find it. So I sat again, I'm like, okay, what if I did not find the thing I love the most? And this is not coming out of me being a negative person, but what if I didn't find it because it's not there? Still not being negative. What if I didn't find it because I meant to create it? So it's still not there, of course. So I got really excited about this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start something. I'm gonna find something that I really like to do, and I'm gonna do it. And then I realized this is really bad stuff, because the problem is I don't know what I like. So thinking, okay, this thing, it has to be a career, of course. It has to be financially rewarding, or at least pay the bills. It has to maybe solve a problem, or at least people need it. It has to fit the market somehow. Maybe society accepts it, and so on. And then I realized this is a lot of criteria to set. So I decided to just scrap all this and just pick one thing, and I'll just base it all on that. So I picked that whatever I'm gonna do would be something that kinda like doing. Not even love, but I kinda like to do. And when I did that, it became really easy. I was sitting there, and we were moving houses, and I was sitting in our old apartment in my now empty bedroom, and I see this one box that wasn't allowed in the new house, and it was filled with all the broken junk products that I've been collecting over the years from friends and families, from scrap markets I go to. And I look at it, and I'm like, I actually like taking products apart. If I'd spend my whole life doing one thing, it would be taking products apart. And I didn't care if I'm gonna make a career out of it or not. I was like, I have one rule. I like it, so I'm gonna do it. I won't care if people will be happy to see me doing this or not. Of course, my parents were very happy when I told them I'm quitting my job and I'm gonna sit in my room and just take products apart all day. They were ecstatic. Yeah. My mom was like, so you're not gonna work in a company where there are people there? Maybe you meet a potential husband? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And it's been stressful. In Egypt, we have this saying they say, like, when a girl, because like there is a timeline for a girl in Egypt, or like a woman in Egypt, and the priority is you have to get married. Like, this is your top one on the list that you need to check. And we have this thing when a girl reaches 30, they say, oh, you've missed the train. And my mom would tell me, like, Dina, you're not even at the station. And I'm okay. You know, missing an imaginary train is not one of the criteria I base this on. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I was leaving my last job, and in Egypt, weekend starts on Friday, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna be committed to this. Every Friday, I'm gonna pick one item, and then I'm gonna take it apart. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna take it apart, and since I love to document my projects, I'm gonna document this somehow. I am really scared of the internet, or at least I really was. And I've always liked blogging, but I didn't really share my work. I would write it, but then hide it. So I thought, I've never personally used Instagram, and I wanted to take pictures and photos of all the products. So I thought, this is the perfect space because, Instagram, people take selfies on Instagram or like food photos. People won't really want to see junk photos of broken products and stuff. So I was like, this is a comfortable area for me, so I'm gonna do this. And I started doing this. And at first, I would just post photos of the products, still images of the whole product and the pieces of it. And some people did follow along. I'm like, okay. And then one day, I take this shaver. I pick this shaver, and then I'm like, this is incredible. Like the way it all comes together. It's like an amazing puzzle. And just one photo doesn't really show how amazing this is. So I remember this thing called stop motion. So I'm gonna try it out. I think you take a couple of photos, and I took like 500 photos, and I made this 1-minute video. And of course, I tried to post it on Instagram, and back then Instagram didn't allow long videos. So I'm like, okay, I Google, and then I find this thing called frame rate, which I had no idea what it was. And in stop motion, frame rate is like the number of frames per second played. And in stop motion, it's either done on 24 frames per second or 12 frames per second, which means if I want to animate my hand going from here to here, and I'm using 24 frames per second, I need to take 24 photos of my hand going down. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. There's a lot to learn about stop motion, then I really know, okay, this is nice. And this was my first video that I made, and I was so impressed with myself. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. I wasn't even using a stop motion app or anything, just using an application that you make like slideshows with. And then I decided, okay, I'm gonna continue doing this, and week after week, I would challenge myself to learn more about stop motion. And then I start seeing characters, like this one. Thank you. And I've done like maybe 38 videos or something. I've been doing this for the past 2 years. And this is the latest object that I took apart, and also one of the earliest objects I took apart as a kid. I remember that I would always pull the eyeballs out of my dolls because I really, really wanted to know how they close their eyes like this. And I also remember my mom shouting, "Dina, why don't you ever play like a girl?" So when she saw me as an adult doing this, she just snapped. Just never change. And this is the video. Thank you. You can see most of the videos are on Instagram, and if you want to see like behind the scenes secret posts, they're on my Patreon. And it was very different taking this apart as an adult than as a child. And at first, when I first held the doll head, I immediately noticed how the hair is not weaved on all the head, but only on the sides, and I really wanted to show that because as a kid, I always thought that, oh my God, they did not finish making my doll. I didn't think, oh, they were trying to make a cheaper doll by only using just a few hairs. So So now I know why my dolls were always bald. And of course, after like pulling their eyeballs out, this is all I got, bald dolls. So I made so many of this, and every time I post a video, someone would tell me, oh my God, we never actually knew that there were so many parts inside. We actually don't know what's inside of the products that even we use on a daily basis. So I continue to show people what's inside the things that they throw away. And then I also recognize, okay, so maybe it's actually easier for us to throw away things when we treat them as one whole object. So it's easier to throw away one thing and not 100. So I continued to do this, but I wanted to make it as a project. So since I'm really bad at naming things, I asked the people who follow me, what should I call this, what I'm doing? And someone said Explosive Fridays, since I make things explode, but taking where I come from, I really wanted to stay away from that word. Someone else said Tinker Project, and I really like the word Tinker, so I named it Tinker Fridays for consistency reasons. And this is another one. This is a mechanical plug-in timer. How many pieces do you think are made, like this is made of? Shout out numbers. 100? No, more. Not 1,000. It's 156. And this is what's really inside. Maybe not really. So before making this one, I saw that video of Walt Disney explaining one of the machines they made, and they used this for Snow White, and they made this multi-plane camera where they had lots of glass surfaces, and they would animate each layer separately, and it also gave like depth to the whole cartoons. But I didn't have a multi-plane camera. I just had a piece of glass in our living room table, and I took that, I glued it in some wooden rods, put it in some Pringle cans with some pebbles, and it worked just fine. I did the video, finished, took it apart, put it back on the table, and my mom never knew anything. She's worried every time I take something, and then I go to my home studio, she's like, what are you ruining now? I'm like, nothing. So it was a lot of fun making this video, it still is. And another fun part is sharing all this. And I would do this thing where I would share my characters and I would ask my followers to name them. And they would come up with really funny, creative names. So this one is Casata von Dancing Parts. This one is Fast and Furious. They're from a PlayStation controller, and they were gaming. This one is Pearl. There's a knitting stitch called Pearl, and she's knitting her eyes out. Of course, my parents would ask me, so I would show them this, and they, along like the years, they would accept it somehow. They would laugh, and they're like, oh, okay, it's funny, but you know, then what? Like, is this what this is what you've learned? Because I studied product design in Malaysia, and I'm an Egyptian girl who left her country and went abroad to study something, and this is a big deal. And now all of a sudden, I'm not even doing product design. So they're like, then what? Is this what you learned in school? I'm like, actually, people should all learn this. Like, so last year, I got an opportunity to teach at the German University in Cairo, and of course, I had my students taking apart products, and they learned a lot, hopefully. And it was really nice to see one of the students actually wrote it that she never knew that there were so many parts and products, and it was nice to see it on paper, not just on screen. So these are all the parts in a disposable camera or a pocket camera. And this is how my process usually is. I would pick a random product, I would learn all about it, take it apart, put all the parts in front of me, and the secret is I just stare at all the pieces and try to imagine something until it makes me laugh. Very sophisticated process, but this is what I do. And if I don't see it right away, I would like move the pieces or maybe move my position. And once I laugh, then this is it. So this is what's really inside. I was really laughing when I animated it. This is another one. This was during Halloween. I tried to scare people, but they left. And most of the time, it's just random things I see in my head, and I really want to bring it to life. But some other times, I pick an object that makes me think, or something happened that certain week, or I've been questioning this kind of product, and hair dryers are one of them. I was really questioning the importance of all these hair products. And, I mean, till this day, my mom keeps telling me, like, Dina, you need all these hair products. You know, you're a girl, you have to take care of yourself, and girls need to look good. And in Egypt, straight long hair equals good hair, curly short hair equals bad hair. And it really sucks. I mean, it's okay if you want to change how you look like to get a new style or something, but when it becomes a problem to accept who you really are, and I really struggle to accept how I really looked because of all these pressures coming from society that, no, this is bad and this is good and you need to do this, no, you need to really do this. So I've been thinking about all this, so when I opened the hairdryer, this is what I saw. So it's really good to like a good outlet for me to really express all these feelings and ideas I had and actually talk about them on a platform like Instagram. And I would tell stories, I would tell people this is something that I've seen as a problem in Egypt, or something that I personally struggled with, and I got over it when I was living in Malaysia. And I had a Chinese friend, and Christine would tell me how much money and time she would spend to curl her very straight hair. She's like, I've done this like 5 times and it's still straight. I'm like, Christine, you're crazy. Like, people in Egypt are straightening their hair, and here you are curling your hair. my God. And then I realized we just want what we don't have. And when we want something that we naturally don't have, this is when, marketeers use the opportunity. So I got over my fear of the internet, and now the internet is awesome. So I learned so much things on the internet, and I meet really incredible people, and I get to share things and find people who can relate to it. Like this, I've done this video with another animator. She does stop motion videos on Instagram as well. Her name is Dora, and she's actually from Germany. And one day she sent me, she's like, "Do you want to do something together?" I'm like, "Yes." So she makes this series of matchboxes, and they're really funny. And she did the first half in Germany. I did the second half in Egypt, and we put them together. Thank you. And when we did that, I told Doro this will never really work out, because actually what went in the box was totally different than what came out. We just sent each other like pictures of all the litter and scrap pieces that we both collect, and we tried to match them, and this is what we decided to use. So last time when I was at Beyond Tellerrand in Munich, I got the opportunity to go to Hamburg to meet Doro and actually work with her in real life. So this is what we've done together. It's really incredible to me that I just work with a stranger who I've never met or don't even know, and we actually work together very well. So it was fun. Another thing is, of course, people started sharing my work, and I would get commissions from that. So this is how I was able to pay the bills all these years. So this is some of the commissioned work that I've done. So now I actually started a stop motion studio in Egypt, and that brought me to a bit of a quarrel inside myself, because when I started, I really, really wanted to finally know, okay, so what exactly am I doing now? What is really my job title? Because am I a product designer or am I an animator? I didn't really study animation. I can't really call myself a stop motion artist. I have a lot more to learn, and I'm not really also an artist. I have an issue with art. But what am I really? And this really set me back, especially when I go to events and I meet new people for the first time. You know how it goes. It always goes like, "Hi, my name is Muhammad, blah, blah, blah. I'm manager at blah, blah, blah." And I'll be like, "Hi, I'm Dina. I take products apart on Instagram." And they'll be like, "Oh, okay." I was like, one day I was like, "Oh, this is so stupid. Why do we really have to state our job titles? I don't know what my job title is and I don't want to do it. So maybe I'll just state what I love." So I go like, "Hi, I'm Dina Amin. I like what people throw away." Also, wasn't a hit, no. And then one day I decided, why do I need to be just one thing? I love that I can do so many things, that things I don't even know that I can do. And I love that in this year I discovered that I can do stop motion. And every time I do something, I'm like, oh my God, I never really imagined that I can do that. And I want to continue do that. I want to have like next year find out something that I had no idea that I can do. I was like, oh my God, I'm amazed of myself. I can do that, wow. So I'm not using any job titles. This is what I decided. So for the next projects, I decided, okay, I'm gonna try something other than stop motion, and I had all these scrap pieces, and I really like mechanical toys and automatas, so I decided to build one, and I decided to build something very basic. So I'm just gonna make a character, and then suddenly the character has articulating wings, and it's gonna fly. Very simple. But I started building it, and I would use all these junk pieces. And this is some of my prototypes. So I would use all junk pieces, like this is parts from sunglasses, like the hinges. The feathers were made from packaging material that I cut into feathers. Toothbrushes, lids, pens, anything I find. I even weaved a pullover from him from matchboxes. And this is him. He doesn't fly, but he attempts to fly. My followers named him Icarus, which was very fitting. Yeah, this was his limit. This is a really fun project, and it's something that I've tried for the first time, and I wanted to do things like that as well. And I got my hands on a bunch of hair dryers. These were made in the 60s, but they're still there. So, and I wanted to do something with them. And I've always wanted to do a mini version of the wacky waving arm flailing tube man. It's this one, and I made it. Best thing that I've ever made. Still makes me that happy. With just the hairdryer, some wood, and the tube man, is some plastic packaging. And I made a tutorial of how to make this, and I put it on YouTube. It was the most watched video I've made so far. It has like 55,000 views or something. And it makes me so happy because so many teachers would write to me and send me, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna make this with our students in class." I'm like, yes, more mini wiki webbing arm flailing tube mans. This is awesome. But a not so awesome part is that, of course, I am an Egyptian girl who's on the internet, and sometimes I receive comments that use the word third world, And at first, they are all good comments, like they mean it in a good way, but they always hint that I come from a third world country. And at first, it actually made me proud. Like, people can't believe, like, someone coming from Egypt, a girl, can do things with her hands, can be so creative and do so much with so little. And it made me proud that, oh, people can actually see that girls in Egypt can be smart. But for this one, it was a bit too much. And it really made me think, why is it really that surprising? Why do we even use this term until now? I mean, like, it doesn't even make any sense now because this is not what it means, but it became to stereotype people coming from the developing world to describe them as backwards, lazy, irresponsible, and so on. And it really made me think, how would seeing a video like this on a platform and someone commenting, like, we obviously have the same interests because we're on the same platform. And I'm speaking in a language that you can understand. It's not even my language, but it's a language that we can both understand. And still, you would think and would be so surprised that I can make something that you can understand, which is, it was very weird to me. And then this word privilege would pop up, and then it would make me think, it was like, okay, why would someone, just because they come from a different place, think that they have more advantages that automatically makes them more creative than someone else? And I am okay that someone would think so, like from the developed world. I'm really like okay with it. It doesn't bother me. But it would really sadden me if someone from like Egypt or a country similar to mine would think that they are limited just because they don't have the tools. Because we were creative, hence we built the tools. It's not that we have the tools, hence we are creative. So it really didn't make any sense to me. And I started thinking, so what does the word privilege now mean in the very open world that we have now? So I decided to think about this. And I made up this list. In my opinion, this is, if you have these, then you're actually a privileged person in our open world. And the first thing is internet access. If you have access to the internet, you have access to tons and millions of information just right in the palm of your hand, just one click away, you can learn everything. I mean, people on Instagram used to send me, and they're like, we're stop motion students, and we study in this university and really wanted tips from you. I'm like, we don't even have a stop motion university in Egypt. I learned all this on the internet. So it was a bit funny to me. Like, if you have internet access, like years ago, like my grandparent would tell me, we actually had to travel to Paris to learn a new skill. So if you didn't have the money or you didn't work in a company that would make you travel and get that training, you didn't have that kind of access to information. But now you can learn anything anywhere. Second is love for learning. So even if you're presented with tons of information on a golden platter and you actually didn't want it, you're not going to learn anything. So you need to have this curiosity and want to actually learn something. Third thing is knowing a little bit of English. Just a little bit. You don't need to have like perfect English, but just a little bit, because this is like, after Chinese languages and Russian, this is the most common language between different countries. And it's a plus if English is not like your native language, because then you're like really okay with not knowing or not understanding things. So you can do things like go on a Russian page and try to find information there. You don't understand anything, but you're comfortable with that, and you can just search your way through it. Lastly, a supportive community, and this is the biggest one of them all. So before I went to Malaysia and studied industrial design, I really wanted to learn woodworking, And I went to one of the local carpenters in Egypt, and I asked him to teach me. And I had my dad with me, and he was really supportive of this. But the carpenter told me, I can't really do this. You're a lady. I can't do this to you. I'm like, okay. And back then, I didn't really go after things. Like, it did get to me, how people looked at me a bit, until I went to Malaysia, and my classmates were all girls, and they went into the wood workshop, and they would cut things, drill things, weld things, and they were like, Dina, you can do it, do the bole, you can. So I started, and I learned woodworking there. And then when I came back to Egypt, I took welding classes, although people were like, oh my God, you're gonna weld, you're a girl on all this. But now nothing stopped me, because I've actually seen someone else doing that. And although it could be like, took me years, but seeing all these women and girls on the internet doing all these things, it actually empowered me to do them as well. If someone else can do it, I can do it too. And you see, all this list is more about this. It's not about having money, it's not living in a country with a good GDP. It's about human interaction. So internet access, we often forget that there are actual people behind these screens. So they're actual human beings, and what's happening is that people are the ones putting all this information online, so it's all about sharing. Love of learning, we are born very curious human beings, but there are this one person or many who either grows this even more on you or completely destroys it. And we've all had that one teacher. And English, it's all about our languages. It's all about not just speaking, but actually understanding where the person in front of you is coming from. And this is really powerful. And supportive community, it's just this multiplied by millions. It is very powerful, and it's where actually the magic happens. So what's next for me? I have no idea. I'm like on a no plan. It's been working really good for me, so I'm gonna continue to do this. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Thank you. You'll find me. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. One last thing. Since I do have time, I can tell you, I think I have time. Okay, I think I have time. I can tell you this. You'll find me mostly as Dina A. Amin. The A stands for my father's name, Ahmed. But since like so many people in Egypt are named Dina, and so many Dinas have Ahmed as a father, because of course it's either Ahmed or Muhammad. So I don't find, so I don't find my name like the same handle on all like platforms. So it's all different. So you'll find me on Instagram, like under this name. See, I struggle. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Dina Amin. Wonderful. I mean, seeing all these things, right? Like out of like trash, some stuff that people throw away. Amazing, really amazing. I found the movies on Instagram so amazing, and I'm so happy that she said yes in Munich to come and speak, and even here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a 1.5 hour break now, where you can join Microsoft for a evening session. Drinks are on Microsoft at that. 100 people get in maximum. And you don't want to miss Jared Tabell this evening, because he's fantastic. I love him a lot, and I'm very happy that he finally is here. So you don't have to leave. We don't close the venue. If you just want to stay, please stay, but do this. and then find out if you have to take a shower. See you later.